What's up, guys? So I wanted to make a video follow-up to the video I just posted a few days ago about the number one fear that most sports bettors that are interested in getting into arbitrage have is getting limited. And I talked about how that fear is actually the same as the fear of consistently winning. Because if you're consistently winning, eventually you're going to get limited. There's another extreme that I see out there that I wanted to cover and make sure that you guys aren't falling into. Because, it's one thing to be crippled by fear to the point where you're not betting. But then the other side of the extreme is to be so fearless and so YOLO into this that you're just going to be setting yourself up for failure to get limited much quicker than if you played it a little bit more smart, a little bit more strategic. So the number one thing that I see most people do when they make this mistake is they bet way too much and have way too much volume on just a few sports books. And that is a surefire recipe for getting flagged and getting limited. So the way that you avoid this is by making sure you're using bet sizes that are not going to tip off the sports books, and also spreading your bets out across various different sports books so you're not just focusing on a few sports books. So the more sports books that you have accounts with and that you're placing bets on, the better. So you're going to have to spread your bankroll a little bit more across various sports books. And my recommendations for bet sizes I've shared in previous videos, but I'll just cover them real quick. It's usually 200 to 250 for alternate markets and up to $1,000 for main markets. So if you stick to those bet sizes, you should be good. I wouldn't suggest consistently pushing those bet sizes, maybe going a little bit smaller, especially when you're just starting out, until you get your feet wet, until you get comfortable with the process. Then you can slowly increase your bet size. So that's what I recommend to my students. That's what I'm recommending to you. That's what I would suggest for the majority of people when you're just getting started, or even when you have already started arbitrage betting. That is the main thing I would say to focus on. You can also focus on the sports books that are most friendly to sharp action, sharp sports bettors. There's quite a few out there. I'm not going to get into in this video, but I teach this pretty extensively to my students. A good chunk of the domestic sports books are not friendly to sharp action. If you want to stay more under the radar, just make sure that you're not putting crazy volume or crazy large bet sizes on the domestic sports books, especially when you're just getting started. And always make sure that you're rounding your bets. Make sure that you're rounding them to the nearest 5. Don't use any decimals, anything like that, when you're making your bets. This is what I would suggest for people that, come in guns a-blazing, trying to make crazy amounts, trying to place crazy bet sizes. You're going to get limited way faster than if you played it a little slower, took a little bit more time, and really just was more methodical about this. One other thing you can do is to make yourself look more recreational is you can sprinkle a few parlays here and there for just a few bucks. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing this consistently because it can eat away and bleed into your profits. But if you're doing it, in very small doses, I think that it can help to sustain accounts and allow you to sustain no limits or not crazy limits for longer than if you didn't do it at all. So that's just one more thing that I would recommend. Other than that, if you want more information or answers to any of your other questions and more support on your arbitrage journey, check out my school group, the Sports Arbitrage Academy. I'll put the link below this video. Until next time, have a great day, and hope to see you guys inside the group. Peace.